David Green borrowed $600 in 1970 to open a business that led to the first Hobby Lobby store. Today, the arts and crafts retail chain has 780 stores, 35,000 employees, and more than $4 billion in sales. Hobby Lobby won a landmark Supreme Court case in 2014. Green pushed back against part of the Affordable Care Act. The court ruled that religious business owners are not required to pay for certain contraceptives for female employees. Green discusses the case and his company's legacy in the new book, Giving It All Away and Getting It All Back Again, The Way of Living Generously. David Green, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome. So tell us exactly what you think the message of your life is.
Well, hopefully it's about values. Wealth is more than just money. It's about values. And so we want to make sure our family carries down values. And that's why we've actually come up with a hard copy of who and what we are as a family, the Green family. And it's about mission, vision, and our values. And so we want to carry that down from generation to generation, to have a legacy that exceeds us by many generations.
And what so bothered you about the Affordable Care Act?
Well, it was obvious that we couldn't. It would go against our conscience to take life. We believed that if we supplied for drugs that were being required by us, that we would actually be committing abortion, and this is something our family just could not do.
What were those drugs?
There was 4 drugs that I'm not sure exactly the names of them, but we provide 16 different contraceptives, but there's 4 after pregnancy that we feel like could abort, and so we could not do that.
What about critics who say it's not a boss's role to determine what kind of contraceptive coverage a woman has?
It's really not the government's right to interfere with my conscience. And so as employees or as owners, my wife and I that started this business, the government shouldn't be imposing restrictions on us. It would cost us as much as $1.3 million a day if we didn't follow what they would ask us to do.
And so since you won in the Supreme Court, if you work at Hobby Lobby, it does not cover contraceptive care.
That's correct. It does, yes, the 16 contraceptives we do supply, but not these 4 that would be after the fact.
There was some research that said that Hobby Lobby's 401k plan invests in certain pharmaceuticals that develop those very drugs that you're opposed to. Is that hypocritical?
No, it's not hypocritical, because it'd be like me going into a drugstore and I'm seeing things in there that I wouldn't buy. But I still have to be part of that. But it would be a very, very, very small percent of anybody's 401. And if I didn't offer different things other than one that would be a pure 401, then I would get tremendous criticism that I'm cutting my employees' investments down to suit me.
You pay about double the federal minimum wage to your employees, correct?
That's correct. Our minimum wage is $15.70 for our full-time employees.
So how would you feel about the government enacting legislation that required the federal minimum wage to be $15?
I don't think that would be fair. I think that would be, that needs to be up to the very businesses, and I think that
So if they wanted to pay $5 an hour, that's okay with you?
Well, you cannot do that because of the competition. You cannot hire people at $5 an hour. So there's a certain amount of competition out there, as well as a lot of young people wouldn't have jobs.
Was the competition led you to pay $15 an hour?
No, it wasn't. But we decided to do this on our own, but we certainly couldn't pay $5.
Yeah. It was you wanted it to be a market-based decision, that the employer could make the choice and look, you're going to recruit better and retain better people by paying them more.
And that was the decision there, but we're not suggesting the government comes in and require us to pay $15.
Does this make you a libertarian?
Possibly, to some extent.
You think there's too much government interference in our life?
Without any question. And certainly when it comes to religious liberties, I think they need to give us a little more rope in that area.
Let me ask you about your book, because you write, work is not a curse, it is our calling.
That's right. We feel like that God owns our business and that we're only stewards. And so our job is to do the very best we can for our employees. That's why we're only open 66 hours. We think that family is important, and that's why we talk about in the book the values of family, and the family should have values. And of course, that's what brought us to the lawsuit, is that we have values that we don't want to cross.
Do you feel like that, that people in this country respect the kinds of values you have and would like to see more of it? I ask that because sometimes people believe that there's some contempt from elites and all of that against people who stand up for what they believe are their religious rights.
I think that's true, but that really doesn't waver us at all. This is what we believe. We believe, and we've tried to, our values is based on God's Word. And that's where we get our values, and that's something that's solid. In our culture today, there's values that's all over the place. But we have something that we feel like we can stand firmly on, and that's why we're putting a world-class Bible museum in Washington, D.C.
David, can I ask you quickly, too, we were just talking about Apple redesigning their stores, and at the same time, there's been this question about the death of retail. How is retail? How are your stores doing?
Well, we're in a business that we're not as affected that as much. We have e-commerce as well, and we do this, but our sales have been up every year, same stores for probably 15 years.
Fascinating story about family business and big success. David Green, congrats on the new book. Giving It All Away and Getting It All Back Again is on sale now.